Christmas is over, but we still got gifts. Welcome to the Coach's Huddle. It's your boy, the coach, where the field meets family, and we are back with another weekly installment of the Coaches Meeting, powered by BetUS Sports and Online Casino. Welcome and get in here. I hope all of you ate well, opened up all of your gifts, spent all of your money, because it's time to get back to this trash show of a season. Grant, how are you doing today? How are your holidays?
Good. You know why the gifts are still coming here at the Coach's Huddle?
Let's go. Talk about it.
Hanukkah, night 2.
Because
we got
it don't
7 more
stop.
nights.
Can't stop, won't stop. Christmas,
That's right.
You know, they come in with a big bang. You know, You got your Eve, you know, but really outside of the day,
8 nights.
It's over.
It's a great value. Only Jews could come up with a value that good. I'm sorry.
But if you go with the dreidel squad.
Yeah, I'm telling you. 8 nights.
Okay. Dreidel. All right. We know the deal.
We don't really go out of our way to convert people. We just kind of throw Hanukkah out there and let people make their own decision. You know what I'm saying?
You know
8
what?
nights.
The best way to have a Jewish overture to become a Jew during the holidays is just like, you see us? Look at us.
Still going.
We're still going.
Wow. Well,
Christmas
too.
over.
Must have been fun.
Kind of was quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, let's get into it, man. We've got a lot of topics to talk about, and really, we're just kind of going to assess the season as it's rolled out and pretty much what are the hottest topics right now kind of laying on the surface. The biggest thing that we want to bring up right now is, does Ricky Pearsall have anything to prove? With 2 games left, Ricky Pearsall and the 49ers rookies have a final chance to make an impact. Can Pearsall, who's battled injuries all season and inconsistency, show his potential to solidify his role heading into next year, or was his pick just a patch? So, look, I had a topic last week or a couple of days ago about kind of around the same question with Brock. You know, when are we finally going to be able to assess him, right? He's had 2 different sides of the spectrum on his career, being the greatest, being one of the greatest things that we've seen since we've started this offense. And then we already know what we're seeing this season. And in a way, I feel as though that may be a little bit of what we're seeing out of Ricky Pearsall. Came in as a late first-round pick. There was already questions about whether or not he was a reach for the value coming into the team. Had immediate injuries off and on with his shoulder, didn't really show any consistency throughout camp. And then we already know about the aforementioned struggles with him being shot and, you know, being able to bounce back from that. But I got to be honest with you. I've been treating Ricky Pearsall with kid gloves all season because in some instances he's just deserved the grace. But after Miami, Grant, the two illegal formation penalties, not necessarily ingratiating himself into the offense. Has he worn out his welcome? Is it time for Ricky Pearsall to get put into Gen Pop and be assessed like the rest of the team? How do you feel?
I think the illegal formations put him into Gen Pop. He was in protected custody for a while because for obvious reasons, but he comes back, he makes a few plays, and then all of a sudden he just goes MIA. He's not catching anything, and you're trying to give him all kind of excuses, right? Like, all right, well, he's probably like late in the progression. They're probably kind of burying him in the progression. Like, we don't really know if he's not getting open. He missed training camp. He got shot. Wait till next year. And that'll, I mean, like, I bought into that. I think it's fair, and you got to give young players on the Niners grace because we've seen so many of them get buried for no good reason. But then when he gets he's been in the game. He's been playing a lot. Kyle Shanahan handpicked the guy, compared him to himself. And then when they really need him to just like not mess up, he commits not 1 but 2 illegal formation penalties on the same drive. Like, Now I'm thinking like maybe it's you, man. Maybe you're not really ready. Maybe you're not really focused. Maybe you're not really good. I think it's fair to wonder those things now. And like, I mean, just look at his numbers, dude. Like he's got
I'm looking at it right now. He's got
17 catches in 9 games for
Yeah.
190 yards and a touchdown. Like that's terrible. Dante Pettis as a rookie had 27 catches for 467 yards and 5 touchdowns in 12 games as a rookie. And he ended up not being a starter. So what is Pearsall?
Yeah. My biggest thing right now is that it just seems as though that he's hovering on the offense. You know, he doesn't really have a role. He doesn't really have any responsibility that's tied to his role. I don't think that there's anything that's been wrapped around what type of production that we should be seeing from him. And we've already talked about, just his age. He's an older rookie now. So coming into his second year, he's already going to be pushing 30. And there is a world where Ricky Pearsall needs to start showing us more than what we've been getting out of him. I think one of the biggest things that sticks out to me is that he is physical. He's a willing blocker. He plays with a lot of effort, but there is no consistency. I haven't gone into one game counting Ricky Pearsall as a weapon. Part of this topic is not just Ricky Pearsall, but other rookies. Jacob Cowing. Me and you have touched on it lightly, but there's a world where we're waiting for Ricky Pearsall to finally show some type of production, so Jacob Cowing can maybe get a package on the offense. If Jacob Cowing isn't going to play because we're trying to get Ricky Pearsall off the ground, then how long does that? Where's the expiration date with that experiment? Being able to see where we're going to get anything from. Ronaldo Green on a consistent basis, and then Malik Mustafa, him getting back on the field. There's 2 games left, and I understand that the biggest thing in the room right now is that we're not making the playoffs. Cool, season's over from that aspect, but we're gonna have another season like this if we don't start assessing these guys fairly. One of the biggest things that I need from Ricky Pearsall is to push. I don't need you to be under the wing of Deebo Samuel. I don't need you to be under the wing or, don't be the little brother of the wide receiver room, right? It's time for you to start like asserting yourself dominance wise. If for me, from a receiver standpoint, Brandon Ayuk's down, Deebo Samuel's not necessarily having a great year. I'm pounding the table for more touches. I'm asking for the ball, right? I don't get that type of apex predator from Ricky Pearsall. He kind of, in a way, I got to be honest with you. There's a sense of happy to be here with his game that I do not like.
And I think what's rough when you're looking at where he was taken, look at the guy taken directly after him, Xavier Legette, 41 catches, 439 yards, 4 touchdowns. Keon Coleman, 24 catches, 498 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right after that, Ladd McConkey, 69 catches, 960 yards, 5 touchdowns. If you didn't want a wide receiver, few picks after that, Cooper DeJean, freaking balling. So that's the problem with like making these reaching for players at that spot. You haven't had a first round pick in 3 years and you take a guy that wasn't even a first round pick on your draft board, you're setting him up for failure. You're setting him up for failure before the gunshot. So here's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the way it works with the Niners is that Kyle Shanahan is in charge. He makes the picks he wants. And the picks he wants to make are the offensive skill position players in the first 4 rounds. So we've seen him do that a lot. I think Ricky Pearsall was pure him. And then he either loses interest or he loses knowledge of the players after a few rounds. And then the front office takes over. And the Niners front office is really good. Their scouting department's really good. And I have a feeling that he picked Pearsall, they picked Cowing. And when you wonder, like, why isn't Cowing playing? How come Cowing can't get a shot? Because if Kyle put Cowing on the field and Cowing killed it, then he would be acknowledging to his own front office that, like, okay, you guys know better than me. And maybe you guys should be making the picks in round 1 and not just in round 5 and after. How can a team be so good at drafting in round 5 and so bad at drafting in round 1 if it's not this? If it's not 2 different people making those picks? That's the way I look at it.
I mean, that's the way I see it as well. All of the late round picks and the developmental picks seem to not only stick around, but find their way into the starting lineup. I could see if we looked at – go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think this would be a natural transition next topic to like the fact that they have a first round pick now. And if the front office feels that Kyle Shanahan picked this guy kind of unilaterally, no one else in the front office wanted him, and he's not working out, then has Kyle Shanahan eventually like finally lost his privileges when it comes to drafting in round one? Because we all thought like, hey man, sure, he doesn't know quarterbacks, he may not know D tackles, but you ask him to like scout wide receivers, he's got that. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's just the position, Grant, but I think it's the position of the draft. You know, when you are picking in the first round, you got to pick for. It's almost like you got to pick your can't miss pick. You can't really gamble in the first round. You got to go for a solidified foundational piece. And we've done everything but that for the most part in first rounds. You know, trying to refill DeForest Buckner with Javon Kinlaw was a bust situation. You know, we already know about Solomon
Passed
Thomas,
on Tristan Wirfs to do it.
Passed on Tristan Wirfs sitting right there. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, he turned out to be a good find for us. But if you really look at the net of what Brandon Ayuk has given us, we've got a really good fringe one receiver. Mm-hmm. We got a fringe leading receiver out of the first round. That's what we have.
You got one Pro Bowl year out of him.
And we don't know what he's going to be now. So, yeah, there is a world where the 49ers could start asking Kyle, you know, hey, we want you to kind of just cook the groceries. You don't need to shop for them anymore. You know, you just cook. And I wouldn't be mad at that. Right now, we're looking at some of the picks that we have. The Niners right now are slotted to have right outside top 10 in the first round. They're 11th. Yeah.
But
so we're going to lose to Detroit. Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to lose to the Detroit Lions, and we are going to get smacked, all right? And then also, you know, it's anybody's game going to see Arizona. We don't even know if we'll have, like, a full effort. So we could be
Charlie
squarely
Heck
in the top 10.
Left tackle for that game. We don't know. Charlie Heck. That's the new guy on the team. Did you hear about him? Do you know about him? He's on the
Charlie
team now.
Heck. Heck of a man. Heck of a guy.
Heck of a guy. Heck of a player.
Heck of a player. No. Charlie Heck could be our starting left tackle for the game. What we're here to say basically is that the 49ers are pretty much in a really good position to pick somebody who could change things right away on offense. We just talked about most of the first round picks for the 49ers, and, you know, Kyle's got his fingerprints on those picks. Haven't necessarily bared out. They're not good, quite frankly. A lot of them are busts. The biggest bust of them all is the one that we traded 3 first round picks in Trey Lance. You will never get over that, in my opinion.
I mean, it's one of the worst picks in league history.
Yeah, and if not the worst, that pick is worse than Solomon Thomas. That pick is worse than who's the kid, the receiver that we got out of Illinois?
It was 3 first round picks. It's like they took him 3 times.
Yeah,
they traded disgusting. Up. They gave a trade package that you would reserve for like all pro quarterbacks and gave it for a guy who had one good year at North Dakota State. It's epic.
What I will never get over is not the fact that they did it, but finding out that they did it not knowing who they wanted. That is wild to me.
And also, in retrospect, doing it in the COVID year when you couldn't even have a pro day for these guys, and he was literally coming off a season in which he didn't play football. Like, that could have been probably the worst time possible to draft a quarterback.
You're
going to get the least amount of information.
And the motivation off of it wasn't that you truly needed a quarterback. The motivation off of it is that you were frustrated with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So you did this out of spite.
Yeah. But I mean, really, that was a bad year to take a quarterback, and things have changed a lot since that. This last year. Anyway, what I want to talk about real quick, I'm looking at mock drafts with this year, and I think is interesting is I'm just getting into the college players. I've heard of Ashton Genty. I've heard of Travis Hunter. These are Heisman finalists. So this running back from Boise State supposed to be kind of generational, like in that Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, top 10 pick realm. And it seems like he's going to drop as running backs do, and everyone has him going to Dallas. But I don't know, man. Like, let's discuss what the Niners could do. They could take an offensive lineman. That's what everyone wants them to do.
So in my opinion, they need to go trenches in the first round, no matter what, unless they believe.
Of course. But we're talking what Kyle will do, because he still has final say on this pick.
Oh, well, what Kyle will do is I think the Niners are going to trade back and go get that tight end out of Penn State. That's what I think the Niners will do.
Let's take it systematically. I mean, they could go offensive line, but I think Kyle Shanahan has pretty much laid out that unless he feels he's getting a Trent Williams in the first round, he's not going to go offensive line. He did it with Mike McGlinchey. I think he regrets it. So maybe he will. But I just don't see him doing it. I mean, Forrester said it. You want to get guys who score touchdowns. That's who they invest in.
All right. So you believe right now you believe that there's a possibility that they get the back. Ashton Jeanty.
Think about it this way. Like they could get a great D tackle. They could get a great right tackle and still be a mediocre team. Because at least for the last couple of years, this team has gone as Christian McCaffrey has gone. When he's been out there playing super well, they've been super good. When he was not out there or he was compromised, they were just not a good team. And look, the beginning of the year, man, they had Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, Purdy, Trent, pretty much everyone, and they stunk.
Well,
they stunk before they got McCaffrey, they stunk after he went down. I don't know.
And I like what you're doing right here. I do. But here's my caveat to that. The names that you're naming are older guys. And it's hard for you to watch somebody get old in front of your face. But we're not the same team, even if everybody was healthy. We're not the same team. For me, I would love for the Niners, hypothetically, to go with the trenches first, because that's where your money belongs. So, yeah, a D tackle is not going to completely fix all of the Niners' problems. I get that. Neither is an offensive tackle. But what it is that it sets a foundation for you to start answering questions later down the road, like, can we move on from Deebo Samuel? What is life after George Kittle? What are we going to do with Brandon Ayuk once he comes back healthy? Christian McCaffrey still is the highest paid running back in the league, even when he comes off injury. That's why I think Ashton Jeanty, possibly for us, will be wild, right? It's like we barely could get Jordan Mason on the field. What are we doing drafting a running back in the first round, especially when Kyle trades up in the fourth round just to go get him? So I don't see that. What I would see is them possibly getting maybe a corner. There's we already know that Demo's staying and Mooney's going to walk. So they may get another guy on the other side and then solidify the other side of that corner with Ronaldo Green being in at the nickel. Also, like I said, the tight end out of Penn State, he's somebody. There's also edges that I feel like now would be another time to get out of the free agency pool or the retread first round picks that we've been doing over the past 3 to 4 years and go get another edge, a real edge to put on the other side of Nick Bosa. I think the first round is where you go get your guys who deserve the money. So for me, I don't see anything outside of trenches that I would be remotely interested in the first round. Even at quarterback, I mean, I love Cam Ward, but I don't think Cam Ward is enough for a first round pick. Not for us, not with our problems.
Cam Ward. I would take.
You would take Cam Ward?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I love him.
If he fell to the Niners, you would have to run that pick, and Shedeur Sanders too, both of them.
No.
Yes.
I'm not a Shedeur Sanders fan. He can't protect himself, and he needs an offensive line. I wouldn't be. Have you seen Shedeur play? I think he's pretty good. I think he's worth a top 10 pick. Okay.
Yeah, I would take him. I wouldn't trade up for him, but if he's there, I would take him. And again, here's the thing. He won't be there, and Cam Ward won't be there, but Jeanty will be there. And you could sell me on going trenches if it was any head coach other than Kyle. But if Kyle's going to stay here and Kyle's going to have success, I think he needs to have an all-pro level running back. When he had success in 2019, Raheem Mostert was kind of unstoppable. 2021, Debo had a run. And in the last couple of years, Christian McCaffrey was one of the best players in football, if not the best. If you take him away and you fortify the offensive line and the defensive line and you get another number 2 tight end, there's still a very likely chance that this team goes 9-8 next year if Christian McCaffrey can't contribute. And I think that's the reality of the type of team you have with Kyle Shanahan.
All right, and so I like where you're going right now
as well. I don't have that. I mean, yeah.
So we're gonna draft like Kyle's running the show.
Yeah.
All right, then you need to get. All right, so then you got to get Ashton Jeanty because Christian's not going to make it through the season, and we don't even know what they're going to do if they keep Jordan Mason. Those are the facts. The facts are is that
Jordan Mason was great this year. He was averaging 5.5 yards a carry. Garendo averaging 6 yards a carry. They couldn't win. They need a transcendent running back to be able to win on this team. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not that simple, but this offense sucks. They're averaging 17 points per game after the bye week. I mean, why? They got the
Because
best
Kyle
tight
can't
end,
call
one of the
because
best
he
tight ends of
can't
all
call the
time.
offense. He can't call the offense. I don't think that he. I think that he likes to coach around what he thinks are deficiencies in the offense instead of just coaching the players. Right now, that offensive line is bad. Part of the reason why we don't run the ball is that I believe Kyle will never say it, but I think he knows we can't run the ball. Like, I'm not running this because it's going to be a shit show. Like, and there's a lot of confusing things that happen with the O. I get the narrative. And
can they not run because of the offensive line, or is it because Patrick Taylor Jr. is Patrick Taylor Jr. as well?
No, it's because of the offensive line. Patrick Taylor Jr. is a running back. He's not a great running back, but he knows how to go north-south. I've seen it. He's got vision. That O-line is bad, man. And really, yeah, we don't have the best backs. I'll give it to you. Patrick Taylor Jr. doesn't necessarily move the needle. I understand that. But Jake Brindle, Grant, just being respectful, man. Borderline pro.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. Aaron Banks, I would say worst season of his career.
Sure.
All right. And Dominic
Trent
Cooney is a
Williams,
baby.
not here.
I mean, even when I'll take it a step further. When Trent was here, he wasn't Trent. Not physical, being a waist bender. Doesn't necessarily have any high pad level. Just getting beat up on a lot. I mean, I feel Trent's body kind of gave in on just being ran into. Trent has enough savvy and experience to know how to stay in front of defenders. But as far as like delivering a blow back, the biggest punch that I ever seen Trent give back was after he got smacked in the head versus Kansas City, and he got up and he got ejected. That's
Still though, it seems to me like when you look at PFF grades or pass block win rate or run block win rate, the Niners, despite all that, are pretty much middle of the pack. And the big difference to me is they went from a team that had the MVP of the league playing running back to a team that now is asking Brock Purdy to carry them. And we've seen how that goes. It doesn't go so well. They need their running back not just to be really good, but to like carry them. Not just in the running game, but in the passing game too. And I don't know that that's Ashton Genty. Like maybe Genty isn't that kind of receiver. Maybe he's not that kind of a player. But
Grant, who is that now, Grant? Who's that now in the league? The running back that's carrying their team through air and on the ground.
In addition to Derrick Henry has done for the Ravens. Saquon Barkley has done for the Eagles.
I get it, but
Jacobs has done for Green Bay.
Those are three of the best running backs in the NFL. These aren't journeymen.
And Genty is being talked about like he could be that player. I don't have an opinion yet. We got to watch more.
True, and yeah,
like
and I don't even know what we're arguing about.
Yeah,
but
if he's of that caliber, I'd be interested.
Well, I mean, I'm not interested, quite frankly, because I don't want to swim in that soup. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm being honest with you. As a fan, I'm being honest. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to get the one guy. I don't want to be in a Debo offense because before it was Christian, it was Debo. I don't want to be in a Christian offense. I want to be in a real offense where there are guys who get the lion's share of the carries, but we also can get to other shit. We don't do that here. We went from Debo until it ran out. Then we put him at running back until that ran out. And then we were DOA. Jeff Wilson Jr. was our running back.
Arguing, but couldn't you? I mean, if you drafted Genty, couldn't that for a year? You split carries with McCaffrey and Genty. I mean, that gets McCaffrey sort of back on the field a little bit, coming off a wasted season. And Genty's a rookie. I mean, the Lions drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round and use him in a timeshare.
But Grant, the one thing that you failed to realize is that all of the running backs that you're naming came into teams with great offensive lines. Like the Ravens' offensive line is good. The Packers put way more into their offensive line than we do. All right. The Eagles' offensive line, my God, they're not even human. Like they're very good. So yes, I see how these backs have been leaned on from your perspective. I get it, right? And I know you're just playing devil's advocate. I get it. However, the reason
I'm not like
why,
an Ashton Genty expert here. I'm just. It seems like a pick that Kyle Shanahan would think about making. Considering the last time he was in this position and he took an offensive tackle, it was McGlinchey. You got to have some PTSD from that experience.
Yeah, but I mean, McGlinchey, that's just Kyle not knowing how to pick tackles. That's his fault.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? But you still got to go out and go get the O-line. We're not paying Brock. We're not protecting Christian McCaffrey. We don't have a passing game or running game without a good O-line. our offensive line is very bad. And I understand by the numbers, the way it fell, that what we saw optically necessarily doesn't match up with what PFF says. I mean, right now, PFF still loves the Niners, which is ridiculous, right? They still have the Niners ranked like top 10 in the league, which is like crazy to me. Right now, PFF has the Niners ranked overall 7th. We got the 4th ranked overall offense. In what world is this offense 4th in anything?
That's what I love about that stat, like EPA, estimated points added. Like, estimated? This team sucks in the red zone. You're just going to give them points because you're going to estimate what they could have done if they didn't suck in the red zone? Like, aren't actual points added what matter? I don't understand the whole estimated points thing. Like,
I don't get it either.
Ball up and down the field, that's great. But when it's time to score points, they're not good at it. I don't understand.
No, I don't understand it either. But for me, I mean, look at us. We're 12th overall defense, 13th overall special teams, and tied for 7th
Which
overall
brings me
in
back
the league.
to Ashton Genty. 29 touchdowns this year, 30 touchdowns, 29 on the ground. Niners cannot score in the red zone on the ground anymore. Even with Jordan Mason was in there. I think he had 3 touchdowns the whole season. Garendo had a few, but when they were really good, it was McCaffrey scoring a touchdown a game on the ground and Debo with like the end around from 16 yards out. That's how they were scoring in the red zone. Man, if this guy is that good, if Genty is that good, if he's as good as Bijan Robinson, if he's literally like a generational guy like Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey, and the Niners get him, they'll be contenders again next year, no matter who's on their offensive line. That's what I want to say. But I don't know if he's that good. Maybe he's just
not agree with that. I do not agree with that. I mean, we saw what Saquon Barkley is doing now is because of that offensive line. He was his entire career was falling apart.
But Christian McCaffrey had an offensive player of the year season behind this offensive line.
Oh,
like we've seen running backs excel. Brock Purdy was 4th in the MVP voting behind this offensive line. Like, it could be a lot better, but I still believe that on this particular team in this system, the running back is the engine. And if you got broken down Christian McCaffrey, the rest of the team could be money, and you're not going anywhere. Nowhere. Because the quarterback ain't it.
All right, so look, we know the quarterback ain't it, and Christian McCaffrey is done as far as, like, even if he comes back healthy, he'll never be.
Yeah, he's Christian. He has to give him a different name. He's not CMC anymore.
He's if he's not Christian McCaffrey, I don't know, man. He's not McDonald's. He's McDowell's.
He's McDowell's now. Yeah,
he's McDowell's. Yeah. You heard of the Big Mac? Well, we got the Big Mick.
Yeah, that's him now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. With being able to get him in here, and Ashton Genty, in my opinion, he's a great running back. But I would love to see us retool the line. And I know that's not sexy, and I know it's not going to move the needle for you. And you think,
I'd love to see him do it too, especially if their coach was like Ben Johnson or something. Because look at how that's worked for Detroit. I'd love Kyle. Go ahead and do it, man. Surprise me. I don't think you're going to do it. I think if he has a skill position guy who's a playmaker, right tackle, he's going for the skill position guy who's a playmaker. But maybe I'm wrong. He likes Colton Kivitz.
There's a world where we start to see how the Niners draft this year, and we're going to I know this is going to happen. We're going to come out with topics on did Kyle really pick the first round picks if they're different, especially if they're all O-line, or if they're picks that seem like spoken more to foundational pieces instead of like ball carriers or receivers or first round
slots. Here's the problem with him picking an offensive lineman. If he picks one like he did with McGlinchey in round 1, that high, he's not going to look at the guy's talent. He's going to look at it as who fits my system.
That's true.
The best. And that's why he got to McGlinchey, because McGlinchey fitting the system is run blocking, and it's outside zone and reaching and running and that kind of stuff. And so he'll find some guy who can do that, who probably isn't worth the top 10 pick. And you look at him and be like, well, what? You wasted an opportunity to have a top 10 pick. You didn't get a real blue chip talent. Well, you know that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, and to be honest, in the first round, you can't pick for scheme. In the first round, you got to pick for the best of the best. That's why you got a first round pick.
And that's why McGlinchey was always like dumped on, because like, I don't care how good you are as a run blocker. Like, you're getting punked in pass protection. With nice pick in the draft. It's not good enough.
Yeah. So there is that world where, even if he does pick a first round pick, you can't pick for need in the first round. You got to pick for best available.
And if it's a running back, like, I wonder if it's a quarterback.
How did you walk me all the way around on this? I tried. I tried so hard to just keep coming back with like, yo, no, I hear what you're saying, but
That
we're
was a
going with
good
the offensive
argument. I
line.
thought that was a good little
Nah,
debate.
but the way you framed it at the end, I agree. I do agree with you can't go scheme in the first round. It's not that high. You have to go with best available. You only go to get one crack
be a special
swing at
player,
it.
man.
He's got to be a guy.
Special player,
Yeah.
regardless of position, really.
Right.
And they
even if
need
he is a
running
tackle, he's got to have like plus athleticism. If you think about it, that's what hold on, but that's what Trent Williams was.
Yes.
Getting picked by the Shanahans.
Yes.
I think Trent got drafted 4th overall.
Great
and
pick.
Yeah, and he was fast as hell. He was damn near a tight end at tackle. So,
but Trent Williams isn't going to be there when they pick at 9 or 10 this year. Never. Trent Williams was generational. Everyone knew it, I think. I mean, he was a while ago. You were out there.
I don't think everybody, nobody knew he was
the 4th or 5th pick in the draft?
He was like the 4th pick overall.
Yeah.
I think Trent and AP played together when AP had that ridiculous like 1,000 yard. He had like 100 yards every game as a freshman.
That's right.
Trent Williams was his tackle. All right, so
let's move into chats. Let's see what the people have to say about.
Let's see what the supers have to say. Definitely. Dave Barclay, $9.99. Hey guys, Merry Christmas. I've lost all my family now and watch you two and Jess and Ryan every show minus the show with Larry. I just want to thank you guys. You seem like extended family always in my house. Oh,
love you, Dave.
Thank you, bro. Love you too, Dave. Happy holidays, brother.
Happy holidays.
You feel the same way, man. Young Gregory, 1999. Happy holidays, gents. Much love to you both. Brock had a bad year, but I fear it is Kyle running another QB into the ground. We say someone has to save Greenlaw from himself, but who is going to save our QB from Kyle Shanahan?
I got irresponsible speculation. Can we do it real quick? Okay. I think Kyle Shanahan saw this where this season was going. He's a smart guy. He's pretty cynical too. No Christian McCaffrey. Ayuk goes down. All of a sudden, no play action, no yak, no screens.
No screens.
A lot of drop back. It almost felt like Kyle's like, hey, man, you want $60 million a year? You're going to have to earn it the hard way.
You know what I agree. We talked about this all year.
Hey, look at how Sean Payton's calling plays for Bo Nix.
Dude,
he's not way to do it.
He's not doing Brock any favor. And you know what the karma is for this? Honestly, the karma is the training camp where they didn't run anything for Trey. And they forced Trey to run that offense and compete against Sam Darnold and go through. And it was just like, so you're not going to call anything for him? Everything is going to be straight drop
if we're
back.
Gonna miss the playoffs. I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to tee you up like a 115 rating off screens and play action so you can shake us down. It's not going to happen. Now I don't know that he's doing that. It seems like that's some irresponsible speculation that could imply some nefarious.
It's irresponsible, but yo, listen, come on, man. If you know that the team is not going to do well and you understand this ain't this, the last thing I'm going to do is big you up, give you every opportunity for you to win games and at the same time be comfortable. But then the net is that we lost and then I have to hold the bag while you walk out of here with 280 yards a game from throwing screens and now routes. No. I'm going to put you in every position where either you show that you're the guy or we lose. But you don't get both.
Though, like what's crazy is you look at the Niners and you look at the Texans and you watch Purdy and you watch Stroud. And to me, they're both struggling for the same reasons in the same ways. When Slowick and Shanahan are calling plays, it's always like 10, 15, 20 yards down the field. It's like, watch Andy Reid, watch Ben Johnson. There's so many freaking passes behind the line of scrimmage for those quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes gets to complete like 25% of his throws behind the line of scrimmage every freaking game, where Stroud and Purdy don't get to do that anymore. Tua got to do it. Tua did it just the other day. And like, that's Kyle's guy. I don't really understand how Slowick and Kyle have lost their way this year. I'll give Kyle the benefit of the doubt, like he's sandbagging it and maybe tanking, but it's also possible that him and Slowick just had a really bad year.
Yeah, it's looking like they just they're kind of flat-footed. But I refuse to believe that they don't understand like easy football, like paced out football. We've been talking about screens.
Like they knew it with Jimmy, though.
They did it with Jimmy. Like the screens to George, the screens to Raheem Mostert, all of the now routes, the spacing concept. What happened to all of the mesh concepts that we used to run with Jimmy? We don't run any of that stuff. All of the little gimmies where Jimmy would just be essentially just throwing to the flat, dumping off into the seam.
Is that in Miami now? Because we saw Tua do it a few days
That's
ago.
all he did all game.
Was that the Mike McDaniel effect?
Dog, Devon Achane ran all over the place. He did whatever he wanted. They used him in screen game. They used him in the run game. They sat him down when he. Yes, they put him in a slot on
running pigs.
Dog, they had him running everything, and I'm sitting here looking at myself like, so why don't we ever get? You know who else runs our offense that looked way more creative than us? Green Bay.
Way better.
Green Bay's running attack, like, you know, I call the games every week, right? Grant, Green Bay's running attack, I kept falling over my words because they had so many unique motions and pulls and stuff that they were doing behind the line of scrimmage.
Constantly leveraging Jaden Reed, number 11. He's always running an end around.
He's everywhere.
And he's always getting a fake or he's a big part of what they do. The Niners used to run jet sweeps. And they would have jet sweep motion. What the hell happened to that?
And why can't you do it with
big?
Oh, come on, man.
Cowing. Can you imagine?
That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
Actually throwing screens to Cowing. Actually running end arounds, jet sweeps to Cowing. Can you imagine? But they won't because Kyle didn't pick on himself.
All right. So you know what? This is incredibly irresponsible. But this speaks to the real frustration that I've had because you're not a fan. I'm a fan. No. Okay. This speaks to the real frustration that we as fans have had all season, and I think you're touching on it. It's not the fact that we're losing, but it feels like we're not putting our best foot forward, and we're almost too good. We're too good to get caught trying. Like we're above the process where, oh, well, if we don't have everybody healthy and we can't run out with the boom box and have everybody singing our praise, it's almost got to look a certain way. It's got to feel a certain way to get the Niners to really give the old academic try, the college try. But if it looks like the Niners may have to struggle to get a win, there's certain things that they are just not interested in. We're not going to run screens. We're not going to make the game easy. We're not going to play small ball. We're not going to do any of that. And a lot of that is emblematic of a spoiled child who doesn't want to work with what he has because he doesn't have what he wants.
But hold on. To me, what's so interesting is that coming off the Trey Lance debacle, Kyle Shanahan was so desperate for a solution at quarterback that he worked real hard to make Brock look good for 2 years. I mean, he was doing everything he could to make Brock Purdy look like an MVP candidate. And he was singing his praises and saying how special he was. And then this kid is like, that's going to cost us a lot of money. And we're not going to be that good this year. So you know what? Hey, Brock, we're going to do another 7-step drop from under center. How do you feel about that? We're going to do another 7. Oh, you want to do a screen? Nah, we're going to do another 15-yard pass over the middle. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be on the 18-yard line and go 5 wide. We're going to be on the 3-yard line and go empty. We're going to be in the shadow of our own goalpost.
Because you're worth $60 million a year. That's no problem, right?
You should be able to handle it. And the plays that I run, every play that Kyle is going to run has an answer, right? Every play that Kyle runs has an answer. So you need to find that answer. Yeah. And honestly, I am so tired of being gaslit by this man. He gives half effort sometimes, and then when he gives full effort, it's always for an ulterior motive. When are we going to just get the best of Kyle? We saw
when they faced the Bears.
Yeah, we saw the Bears, and the Bears pissed me off. It pissed me off. We haven't seen that type of offense all year.
Yeah.
There's
screens. There's play action. There's
play action. Move in the pocket, naked boots, like the stuff that we've been asking for all year. Like, why are we just dropping back? Like,
we got something else I want to throw out there. Okay,
go ahead.
Irresponsible conspiracies. Go another one. I don't think Brock's healthy. He's not going to talk about it. I think he did the calculation. If he were to sit out, he would lose more money than if he were to play through this injury. Say he doesn't have it and struggle. Because the whole team's struggling. He can sort of pass it around. Like, well, it's not just me. So I'm not the only reason that my numbers are down. Watch not my evidence. Yeah, I would have to say evidence. Before he went down, he was running a lot. He would have games where he'd have 8, 9, 10 scrambles. Then he got hurt scrambling. And I wonder if he gets hit scrambling again on that shoulder, it could I think it's fine throwing, but if he were to get really cracked like that again, running downfield, it could be bad. So I don't feel like he's running that much anymore. He'll have some quarterback sneaks, but in terms of scrambling, I feel like he's cut that down very much, and he's being much more cautious. And that's my indicator that something's not the same.
Yeah, I don't believe that he's 100% healthy. I do believe that he's kind of he's telegraphing throws, in my opinion. He's waiting for receivers to get open. One thing that I've also noticed is that he's holding on to the ball a lot in situations where he could just simply just throw the ball away. I don't think the ball can get out of bounds in certain. I don't think he can trust that the ball is going to get out of bounds while he's running.
He
So
was
he
so
holds on to the
decisive when he
ball.
was younger. Now he's not.
He's not right, and I don't know what he's looking for on the field, but I don't think he's necessarily seeing the field well either. Uh, one I will say though is that earlier in the season he was very quick to pull the ball down and run. That has calmed down as the season has gone on. But it's been a long season, and the simple answer for that, Grant, is that shit hurts. You know what I mean? Like rushing out, getting hit constantly, trying to basically stand behind the line of scrimmage and just trying to protect yourself to live to fight another down. My biggest thing right now with just the team is that we're never going to get like the true story on what everybody's dealing with as to why the season is falling out the way it is. One thing that I will stay on top of is that some things that are never going to go away is Kyle protecting these players, the injuries, and these guys fighting for themselves to push forward in the season. If we don't start learning, if we don't start understanding if Kyle has self-awareness to be able to get on top of those things, it doesn't matter who we draft. It doesn't matter who we bring in. And that's the bigger question. You told me before this show that the topics were refreshing because we didn't have Kyle or Brock Purdy topics.
My bad.
We found a way to get back to it.
But before we wrap up this round one thing, I think the thing we need to keep in mind this year when we talk about it is like the Niners missed these picks. Their history is that they blow the first round picks, with the exception being Nick Bosa, which was a no-brainer, and Brandon Ayuk. So we got to talk about like not just what they should do, but also what they absolutely shouldn't do, and try to help Kyle Shanahan avoid the next Ricky Pearsall mistake. Sorry, but that's the fact of the matter there.
Well, I don't trust Kyle with a receiver. I don't trust Kyle with a receiver this early in the draft. I don't want
to Kyle with an offensive tackle between 8 and 12.
I mean, so the only thing that you like to see him is really just touch a receiver.
I'm not saying
a running back or
no.
I'm
not saying that. Like I don't know what he's gonna do, man. I just feel like he's gonna mess it up one way or another. He's gonna find a way.
All right,
we'll help.
But before we find a way, let's get to a couple of these. Let's get to some picks. Let's get some picks in here, man.
All right, man. So, real quick, what's so interesting to me is I would think that the Niners would be like 10, 13, 14, 17-point underdogs. They're 3-point underdogs.
3?
Yeah, they're at home. They're 3-point
That's
dogs.
why you didn't want to tell me. I said 17, right?
Yeah, it's like, what? It's 3? What are we talking about? I really feel like the betting public doesn't get what's going on with the 49ers. Like they could lose every single week, and yet the next week they're either favorites or it's a pick 'em. And people are like, well, no, this is going to be the week. You can't count the Niners out. Like it's so interesting to me. Teams fall apart quickly, but the perception of them lasts a long time.
I thought it was plus 17. That's what I told you the line was. You made me guess.
I mean, I'm going to have to.
I don't understand why. Are the Lions really injured?
Yeah, their defense is really injured for sure. But
they're not beating the Lions, bro.
Maximum wager limit? Oh, they don't want to give me. They want to give me any action. Maximum wager limit? What about $1? What?
$1?
The maximum wager limit? See, I'm a little confused here. Bet US. Okay. I'm trying to take this golden opportunity to put a bet down on the Lions, and you're not. Oh, I'm gonna have to talk to my. Ooh, can I talk to someone? Let me see. Hold on. Notifications. Where's my person? Wait a second. I'm upset. I need to talk to someone at Bet US. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Hold on. All caps. What's up with my picks? I'm trying to take the Lions -3, but you won't let me. What's up with that? I don't like it.
Are they going to hit right back? Have you used this before?
Never. Let's see. Agent Tristan, account manager. It's probably going to be a real person. They're going to be like, why are you typing in all caps? I'm like, I'm sorry. That was a joke. My bad. Oh, he's writing.
Oh.
Sorry for the caps. My finger got stuck. That was a lie. You saw me lying. I'm sorry.
Tristan isn't. All right, so while we're waiting for Tristan,
it's super important. I'll get back to that.
For Tristan, let's go with Amp the Carolina 199. Kyle Shanahan should simplify his offense, not scoring anyway. Yeah.
I gotta call someone. Okay, fair enough. Thank you for the information. You see how quickly they got back to you? Bet you name another sports book and casino that gets back to you that quickly. Tristan, thank you very much. This is why I trust Bet US. Boom. Let's do it. Okay. All right, let's get back to the show because I got to leave in about 7 minutes.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so good.
Let's go ahead and knock out some super chats. Empty Carolina 199. Kyle Shanahan should simplify his offense. They're not scoring anyway. Gregory Young 499. They should pick in the trenches. No, the pick should be in the trenches for the first 3 rounds, both offensive line and defensive line. However, I expect Kyle Shanahan to pick vanity picks. Yeah, definitely.
It should be honestly, if they went O-line, D-line, the whole draft, and that's all they did, you could completely justify it. Completely.
They're not though.
They
Official
won't.
BNA Music 88. We only get better with Kyle if he can grow up. Dude, he's in his early. That's not happening, bro. It's not. There's nobody
Who's more likely to grow up, Kyle or me? I'm 36.
You.
Okay. I got a chance. Sure. Thank you. That means a lot.
And if I might say so, you've been doing some growing.
I'm trying.
Doing some growing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm turning 37 in like 2 weeks, man. I'm trying.
Look at Grant, man. Look at our Iggy growing up in front of us. Tony
late
B.
30s. Can't say mid 30s anymore.
Dude, you've been late 30s at 36, bro. The Niners need to take drastic steps to fix the offensive line in one offseason. Like 3 to 4 offensive linemen with the first 5 picks. Niners made all pro running backs out of 7th rounders. But that's, again, is that Kyle or the organization? That's the question.
I'd like to see what Chris Forster could do with some really good talent on the offensive line because he makes it like a mediocre offensive line with nothing.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, was he being sarcastic when he was like, no. I really do like picking offensive guys with skill guys over offensive linemen.
I don't think he was being sarcastic. To me, that's his way of creating more value for himself. Like
to show,
to give me hey, part of the reason you pay me is so you don't have to pay them. Pay me. Yeah.
Joshua, $5. If you didn't have a franchise QB, who is the last GM coach combo that you would want to have to find that one? The answer is why the Yorks will pay Brock. I like that. He's basically saying that the biggest issue is that the Yorks, it's up to the Yorks finding the guy who will go find them a quarterback. And the Yorks feel as though that Kyle and John have found Brock, so that's why they're going to pay him.
You could frame it any way. It's just not going to work out.
Oh, it's not going to work.
On it right now.
I understand.
It's not going to work out. Yeah.
I just love how Josh put it, but it's not going to work. I agree with that.
No.
Official BNA Music. He's Chris, aka Dun CMC, until proved wrong.
That's not bad. It works.
Yeah.
It kind of works.
Yeah, Dun CMC. Yeah. Dante Curry, the 49ers are loyal to the familiarity of the core. They're getting old. So the core can only last but for so long. You have to replenish the core. All right? All day, every day, Kim. Is it me or is the 49ers one of the mundane teams?
Never. Are you kidding?
Yo, when you did like this, I felt like the SNL skit. I feel it in my plums. I feel it in my plums. Kendall Lewis. Grant plays the Devil's Hill well. To lobby great conversations. Kyle runs any running back for 1,000 yards, then into the ground, ignoring offensive line. Needs retool lines, DB, tight end, quarterback. Thoughts? Yes, I mean he runs them all into the ground.
He would be hurt so fast. Sorry,
that's what I'm saying. Fast. The reason why Kyle looks like he knows what he was doing with Christian McCaffrey is one thing and one thing only. Christian did not get hurt last year. That's it.
That's the same thing with Mike Shanahan and Terrell Davis once upon a time.
Yes, Terrell Davis, Mike Shanahan got tons of credit for what he did with Terrell Davis until Terrell Davis got hurt. Then it was over.
Would Kyle Shanahan be in the NFL if Terrell Davis never existed?
Oh my God, no.
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 The
If it
whole
wasn't for
Shanahan
Terrell
legacy
Davis,
is built on running Terrell Davis into the ground in 3
a
years.
late round pick that you found in the draft.
No clue what he was.
You had no clue what he was.
One of the
He made a
luckiest picks of all
splash
time. The
play
Tom
on
Brady of
special
running back.
teams. Yes, he made a splash play on special teams that woke the whole team up. You put him at running back, and the rest was history for 36 months.
Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Your kid's in the coaching in the NFL. It's like all because Terrell Davis made you a household name.
Yes. Yeah. I'm being real. I mean,
like you made it a hot line. He made it a hot song. That's a whole difference.
Think about it, if you think about all of those backs that used to get so much credit for coming in this offense,
Landis Gary, Mike
Anderson, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis, Alfred Morris, Tatum Bell. And what happened to these dudes? They all got ran into the ground.
Every single one, every single time.
And none of them had consistent success. It was all within the course of 1 to 2 years.
Short-lived.
Very short-lived.
The fact that Terrell Davis got in the Hall of Fame for like 4 years of work is still incredible. But he did like pack about 8 years of a career in 4 years. Thank you, Mike Shanahan. Yeah.
So you have to start looking at the fact that the reason why the burn rate on running backs is so high in this offense is because maybe this offense is a package and not an offense at all.
It's true.
That's why the burn rate is so high. It's almost kind of like, anyway. So Dave Barclay, do we honestly see Lyle being different next year? No, I don't. Gold Towel, what has to happen for Kyle to be fired? Jed. It's the Yorks. I don't think it has to do
a
with
fifth losing season in 9 years. That might do it.
If they lose again,
a fifth 10-loss season in 9 years might do it.
Jordan Free 199. Thank you. Great one 765. How is O-line bad when Purdy is top 5 in pass protection, only 21st in times pressured, and only 19th in sacks? And we had a backup running back top 3 in rushing. Well, the offensive line collectively is not bad, right? If you put them all together, the starting offensive line, they're average. They're average, all right? But when you start losing guys coming in and out, and when you start finding good defenses that completely embarrass the offensive line, splitting them up, you can see it. That Bills game, horrendous. Packers game, horrible. We couldn't do anything on the ground against the Packers. The last game that we played, who did we just play? The Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Disgusting. It's not. Collectively, they put up numbers, but individually, we got guys who don't even deserve to be putting on the uniform. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
So moving on. Dante Curry, Kyle's lack of growth is directly tied to Jed's complacency as an owner, which is why the father does pop up when that's why the father does pop-ups when they start looking bad early. Probably. Last super chat. Super Sim 499. They can't replenish the core if the core is exclusive.
Does OBJ? I don't know. Okay.
What does OBJ mean?
I don't know. Super Sin, you got me.
Yeah. So,
all right.
I think we're going to wrap up here. This is a good time to.
I got to get down and see what Kyle Shanahan has to say about this. There's a lot at stake this week. They must-win game.
It's a must-win game. Must-lose game. Definitely looking at the Niners draft place moving forward. But hey, today we've got the 4-man front on Iggy's channel.
My channel.
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
5. Oh, we're doing it at 5?
I don't know what time we're doing it. What time do we normally do it?
What are you doing it on your time? What's your time?
Oh, 5. So 8 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock my time.
So we're doing it at 8 tonight. Okay,
yeah.
Bet.
Yeah.
All right.
You ever notice that people on the East Coast like are totally oblivious to West Coast time? And when you say something in the West Coast, you're like, I'm on the West Coast. People on the East Coast are so chauvinistic about that. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're the center of the country. So
it's all you. It's all you guys. You guys get so self-conscious about it. It's just that, I don't think that 3 hours ahead of my time zone matters. It's just like, what do you guys? All right. Hey, Iggy, it was a good show.
It was a great one.
We'll link up later. Thank you guys for coming through, and we'll see you later. See you the next time. Peace.
See you next time.